This is Realtor Pamela Lewis. Thank you so much for checking out my channel, Realtor Pamela Lewis. If you have returned to check out another video that I have, thank you, thank you, thank you. If this is your first time checking out one of my videos, I hope you enjoy. Thank you for being here. This video is going to be the top 3 secret tips for home buyers in a seller's market. Wait for it. Number 1 tip of buying a home in a seller's market. You probably have heard me say this before if you watch my other videos, but this definitely applies to buyers in a home in a seller's market is know what you are working with. What does that mean, Realtor Pamela Lewis? Well, let me tell you. Knowing what you're working with is this. 1, get yourself pre-qualified. I don't care if you think you're going to pay down this and pay down that. If you are thinking about buying a house, you need to get together with someone like myself who can point you to a lender that can run you through their automation system, but also have the ability to manually put in whatever debt you're going to pay, whatever that needs to change on your credit report, right? Or it can also help you to lead you in the right direction if you have some credit challenges. Do you have credit challenges? Not a big deal. It happens in some people's lives. Not everybody, but it does happen in a lot of people's lives. That's not a big deal. It's not like I haven't seen that before. Don't be afraid to contact and reach out to me if you have those. I can point you into the right direction. And I have been a firm believer is to get help, but get free help. You know, if you pay somebody to fix your credit, hey, that's your prerogative. But my thought process is, why would you pay someone when you can be using that to pay down your debt? I don't know. That's just me. I'm not judging you. I'm just giving you my opinion. All right. So know what you're working with. Get pre-qualified. Figure out how much house you can afford. Find out if you can qualify for any of the 0 down payment loans. I know in some markets, in our Hampton Roads market, it still translates to be okay to have 0 down. So go ahead and get it. Some agents may not be an advocate for it for their sellers, but I am a firm believer. What is meant to be will be, and what is not meant to be will not be. So you cannot force it. And remember, when you're buying a house, these layouts typically are not unique. You will find it somewhere else in another neighborhood, in another price point. So remember, these builders use these floor plans a lot over and over. So don't be fearful if you miss out on a house. You'll find another one. Make sure you have enough to get yourself ready and up and going to purchase a home. You need to have an earnest money deposit. What is that? I'll cover more details as far as what that is. But essentially, when you do a contract, you have to have money that's a good faith to the seller that you're going to go ahead and proceed through what you're saying for the contract. Whew. When the market was a little lenient, more of on the buyer side, you would get away with a $500 earnest money deposit. I'm not saying you can't now, but I can tell you, if you want to be a little competitive, show me the money. Bring up $1,000. Have that ready to go in your bank account, in your savings account. One of the things that we learned in one of our closings for this month was, and it's some things in this business hit you and you don't think that people would think that way, but people do, is don't borrow off of any of your credit cards when you're going through the home buying process. Let me repeat that, people. Do not borrow from your credit cards while you're going through the home buying process. That is debt. You will blow yourself out of the water when you're trying to buy a home. And you will have that lender in a frenzy of how to make this thing work. Can they make it work? You know, they usually do try, and they usually do. But I mean, woo, that causes stress. So don't do it, buyers. Don't add any more debt to yourself. Okay, I'm done with that. So you got your earnest money deposit, you got your pre-qualification, have your money for your home inspector. I would say have $500. Does a home inspection in our market cost that much? No. But it all depends on the square footage that you're buying. So if you're buying the big granddaddy house and a grandmama house, then yeah, it could cost you $500. And if you're doing other additional inspections, it could cost you that much. But if you're buying your everyday home, it's not going to cost you. But I always overestimate and make numbers round because it's easier for the mind to remember. Then you want to have money for your appraisal. Have $500 for that too. Have that available. So what am I telling you? You need to have at least $2,000. If you asked me 6 months ago, I would have told you $1,500 because you would only do $500 for earnest money deposit. I am evolving as the market is evolving, and so now we're at $2,000. Your appraisal is not going to cost you $500 most likely. It'll be $425, $460, $470. Round numbers, people. It makes it so much easier. Plus, you have a little cash left over to get you a little stuff for your house. So have $2,000 ready. You got pre-qualified. You know if you can get zero down payment. If you can't get zero down payment and you have to put some down payment down, check your 401ks. Check your any retirement plans you have and see if they'll let you borrow off of that without being penalized. Most of them will if you're using it for a personal residence. Some of them will not. Check it in advance. The next thing is closing costs. So if you checked out my video I did for the sellers, then you would hear that most sellers are not paying closing costs. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't negotiate you to get closing costs paid, because I can. But it all depends on what the house is. If it's a hot selling neighborhood and we are competing against 6 other people, I'm sorry. Pamela Lewis is good, but she ain't that good. I'm not a magician. I can work with what I got. Just like you. You got to know what you're working with, so I know what I'm working with. So have an additional, I would say 4%. You know, most closing costs cost you about 3%, but if you get into the FHA loan, it's a little bit more money to close than it would be for conventional VA. So I would be safe, just because everybody's watching this video, at least have 4% of the purchase price amount that you're pre-qualified for. Have that somewhere in your bank account. Now, another discussion I had with a future home buyer was, hey, you're going to need about 20 grand. Maybe $22,000. That's a big number to tell somebody they're going to need in order to purchase the American dream, right? Who has $22,000 in their account? Not a lot of people. Some of you guys out there that do have $22,000, congratulations. Make sure you got me. But for those who don't, I get it. I understand that. But you probably do have $22,000 somewhere. Let's go through a couple of ways you could have $22,000. You could have it in a retirement fund. You could also have it where you could get a gift fund from maybe a parent, a grandparent. Usually for gift funds, the lenders like to see somebody that is related to you to give that to you. But I would check with every lender. You know, it could also too maybe be from a partner. Maybe you're buying the house and maybe the partner's not going on the loan. I think lenders typically will allow you to do that. There is a little bit of situation you're going to get yourself into, and I want to tell you a little bit about that too. So whoever's going to loan you this money, just let them know the banks are going to want to see the cash in their bank account. They're going to want to see an actual statement. They're going to have them sign a letter saying they're giving the money as a gift, because they don't want to make sure it's a loan, right? Because they don't want you to accumulate additional debt. Then they're also going to typically want to see your bank account when it gets transferred from the person who's giving you the gift to go into your account. The whole process of home buying is to make sure there's not money that's being dug up out of the backyard or being laundered for the transaction. They want to make sure the money is actually in a bank account, and they want to see the transfer from each account. Woo, that was a mouthful, but hopefully you guys got all that. So yeah, so now you've been pre-qualified. You know where you're going to get your down payment. You know where you're going to get your closing costs, and you have your, I would say, your initial startup costs to home buying, right? So now you're ready. Let's go ahead to step 2. Step 2, you have your needs and wants. Write those down. Really figure out, try to envision what this house is going to feel like, what it's going to look like. How many bedrooms and bathrooms do you really need? What are you going to be doing with this house? Visualize what that is and be ready when you find that house. And one of the things that I've always done in my business is, and one of the things I got trained on by my father is that we really are not selling you the house. We are negotiating the best deal that you can get on that house that is your best deal for your situation. You are going to be the guide on this boat, which is going to be the home buying journey, to decide which house that is. Once you identify the house, I get into action and I get into writing up the offer, writing in the best situation that's going to benefit you. So when you move in, you have a peace of mind that you have the best deal there is for you for this house. So have your needs and wants. Be ready to make an offer and get that submitted quickly when you do, because you're in a seller's market, which means there's not enough supply. You typically are going to compete against other home buyers. Are you ready for that? Are you competitive? Awesome. You'll do well with home buying. If you hate competition, watch out. You may get a little stressed, and that's okay. There may be situations where you find a home where there's no other competition. And don't be upset if you don't get the house the first time around. There's so many transactions right now, and I don't know the percentages of them. There's so many transactions that buyers have bought a home that's under contract. I mean, I just set up showings last week, and there was maybe 3 homes out of 10, so I guess that's a 30%, that they were under contract, but we still checked to see, hey, how's everything going, because the buyer really loved them, and found out from the listing agents that the deal may not be working out. So be ready. Inventory that you could not get initially may be spit back out to become available. So make sure your agent, and like myself, that we're checking to see houses that have been on the market greater than 10 days, right? Because some houses come back on the market and they come back and they do active, and it looks like they've been on the market for a long time. And the reason why is because they were initially under contract, then the deal with the buyer didn't work out, and then it came back on the market. And so it's just come back active. So MLS and Zillow basically attach the first day it's been on the market until the days it goes off the market. So if it comes back on, Zillow's still clocking those days. MLS is still clocking those days unless the agent relists the house. So yeah, be ready for a house to come back on the market and keep watching it until it actually gets sold. Okay guys, so this is the third tip. I just realized as I'm editing before I'm going to release it out to YouTube that I never recorded the third tip. I think my kids really got me distracted out there when I was recording. But anyway, let's go ahead and get this third tip. So the third tip I have with buying a home in this current seller's market is be ready for that fast ride. So when you finally get that home, yes, you did it. You got the home. Be ready for that fast ride after that. There's a quick timeline by the time you get accepted and the time you close right now, because most sellers want to be able to get out of there and not have to pay that next mortgage payment. So be ready. Be ready to go ahead and schedule your home inspection. Be ready to go and pick your title company, your attorney's office that you're going to use. Be ready. That's your third tip, is be ready. Because when you finally get that home, and you're probably like most home buyers now in this market, and us agents are talking about it behind the scenes, no matter what real estate firm we're with, is gosh darn it, our client didn't get the house this time. And it's because there's not enough good inventory enough to cover all the people that are looking for homes. But don't you give up. Get you a good house that you're going to love and be able to be excited when you drive up from home. So good luck to you. Okay, so that was a wrap up of the top 3 secret tips for home buyers in a seller's market. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, share it with your friends and family that may be on the home buying journey. Make sure you check out my other videos. I can't wait to bring out more, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Hi, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications and give us a big thumbs up. Bye,
Thumbs
guys.
up, and make sure you subscribe.
See you in the next video.
Woohoo! We got the